Hello, everyone. This is Ed Breniger, and I'm in the middle of a 3-week road trip where I've had meetings in Wyoming and Colorado and now in Southern California. And we'll be leaving here in a few minutes to head to my next destination. And then after that, on my way back to North Carolina. When you're in the car for as many hours as I've been by yourself, you have a lot of time to think. And I've been thinking a lot about the work that Ian McGilchrist has provided to us in his "The Things That Matter" book. The Matter with Things, excuse me. The Matter with Things. It's a much more obscure and complex title than The Things That Matter. And in his chapter 20, called the Coincidentia Oppositorum, the coincidence of opposites in the English language, he refers to Heraclitus, and there's a thing about this that I really like, and I want to share this with you because I think it matters. Um, he he quotes Heraclitus using a word called solapses, and that is a Greek word that means grasping. And I like that word because I think that so much of the time we are trying to make sense of the world. We're trying to understand things, and we're grasping for them, and they may be just a bit out of reach for us. And so I think that the challenge is to keep grasping, to keep searching, to keep looking, keep stretching for understanding and knowledge. I want to read just a little portion from this chapter because I think it's really um, the fragment from Heraclitus reads this way: graspings, holes and not holes, convergent, divergent, consonant, dissonant, from all things one and from one thing all. So there's a complexity about that, which I think is evidence in our lives and in the world. And then in the next paragraph, he says, it's hard to overestimate the richness of this fragment. It says many things at once, that a deep understanding of the nature of reality comes in glimpses or graspings, moments of insight, that in that insight, all is neither simply single nor simply manifold, neither simply whole nor simply not whole, neither simply like nor simply unlike, each thing working with and by the same token working against the others, that the one and the many bring one another forth into being, together generating the reality that has this structure at its core, and that despite the nature of this multiplicity, all is held together in a solapsis. The only word here not to be paired with an antithesis. And the whole saying is in itself a solapsis, a gathering which, in its fertility, bursts a solapsis, a moment of dawning insight in us. What I want you to think about, and I encourage you to think about just in your daily walk or work or travels, or moving from your bed to your bathroom or to your kitchen to get coffee, is to think about the things which are partial, incomplete, and yet they're pointing to things that are whole and complete, and that somehow in that knowledge, in that awareness of those things, we find something true that we can build our sense of self and sense of work and sense of purpose on. And I think this is a really important part of the book that Ian McGilchrist has given to us. I encourage you to read it. I don't think any of us can sit down and read it cover to cover in even a short period of time. I think it's one of these books that we sit and we nurture on for a very long time. And I've been stuck on this chapter and one other chapter for a couple of weeks now, just pondering what does it mean to think about our world as both partial and whole, and that they're together in some way, but they're not together in a way that is totally understandable. There is an inscrutability of the world we live in, and that is maybe how our lives are to be understood. Is that there are parts to our lives and there's a wholeness to our lives, and we're trying to figure out how it all comes together. And I think that's why we need each other. And I think that's why we need to be in conversation with each other. And so I say this because I want to thank you for your appreciation for what I've been writing on my Substack, and even more so the conversations that I'm having on my podcast, the Eddie Network. This has been a journey for me, and I'm more excited today than I have ever been. And I want you to know that this is so different than anything I've ever experienced. And I'm grateful to you for making it possible. So just to kind of give you an idea that the subscribership of my Substack has grown by 95% over the last year. 95%. That to me is incredible. And it only says that maybe I'm touching something that is valuable to you. And I need to know what you think. And I appreciate whatever you have to say. And I take it to heart. And I remember it because it is guiding me forward along this path, which I can't tell you where it is tomorrow, much less the next 2 hours. I'm just kind of embracing this thing of particulars and a whole comprehensive whole that is, as Michael Poliani calls it, that I think will resonate deeply in the future, even more so than it does now. So thank you very much. Let's stay in touch. I want to say one more thing. I made an offer back a couple of months ago for those of you who want to become paid subscribers, to join me in the creation of the follow-up book to the Circle of Impact. And that offer I'm extending through the 15th of May. I'll be home by then. So there's not much, I'm not going to do anything with that group until after that point. And so if you are interested in joining me and helping me figure out what's the next step in talking about the Circle of Impact, and how does that turn into a book? And I am telling you, it is a blank slate at this point. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to ask you kind of the questions that I would ask if we were in a consultation, because I want to hear what you think. And I'm responding to what I'm hearing from people. And that's the way this is. So if you're interested in being a part of that, please become a paid subscriber. And there'll be more, there's more value to you than simply being a part of this project. It will mean that we'll have a conversation every month, just you and me, and on whatever you want to talk about. And I welcome that. I mean, it's, to me, the best thing about all of this is I get to have conversations with people. And I want more of that. And so thank you. And let me be a part of that with you. Okay, it's time to get on the road. And I appreciate you all very much. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.